You are thinking it, but you're not saying it.
Let's focus on men for a second.
Yes.
Okay. We love men.
My favorite topic.
You have said there are two types
Yes.
of men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What are the two types of men that you believe exist?
Was it in context of fidelity?
Yes.
Okay. What I said, and I'm happy to, I stand on this hill, by the way.
Okay.
So what I would say is there's two types of men. There are some men that are completely monogamous and loyal to their wife. They pick one woman, regardless of the treatment, regardless of the sexual interaction, regardless of how the relationship is going. They are monogamous and faithful to her. They are committed to making it work. They will tolerate anything or not tolerate anything, but they will make it work regardless. If they pick well, fantastic. If they don't pick well, it's a bit of an uphill battle, but they'll stay loyal to that. And they might be 25 years in, accept all sorts of misbehavior, but they're still loyal to their wife. There's other types of men who are loyal to the woman they fell in love with. What that man will do is he'll fall madly in love with this woman. And while he's in love with this woman, he is entirely monogamous. And because she's caring, loving, gives him sex, beautiful, whatever it is that made him fall in love, he's super loyal in that moment. As she no longer is the woman that he fell in love with, he's open to polygamy. He's open to cheating because he's searching for love, not just commitment. So when she changes, like if she's gained a lot of weight, if she's no longer giving sex, if she's no longer giving him attention, kids have come in the way and she no longer is the woman that he married, he's open to straying. He'll still be committed to her, but he's open to straying because he's still trying to find the woman that he fell in love with. As a married man, do you agree or disagree with what that two types of men thing is?
I see everything as a scale.
Yes. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, you're dead or alive.
No. You're very binary.
Yeah, you're very binary.
Right. But I see it all on a scale.
Yeah.
And I see how we evolve.
Yes.
Right, over time. How I am entirely different than that guy in that photo over there. Like
with the pager.
With the pager. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With the fake gold chain, fake gold Rolex watch, right? Very different from that guy. But I didn't just go from 1 to 2.
Right.
I went from 1 to 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. So I see it as a scale.
Yes. And I think that's probably a more logical way to see it. The thing is, it's so easy to be a guy that is just loyal to his wife when you pick right wisely. I think selection will enable you to become the guy that's in the middle.
You know what? Can I say, I think the number one reason for divorce is because we're with the wrong partners.
That's so simple.
That's it.
Yeah, you pick wisely, and then being loyal to the cause is a fantastic trait. You pick terribly, being loyal to the cause is pathetic.
Yes.
Yeah, and similarly, if you pick well, like if she changes, you're okay with, because you choose somebody that if they change 10, 20%, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
But if you pick somebody, if they change even 1%, you're going to no longer love them. You're picking wrong. So right selection will lead you to become a man that's got the right values.
We're on the same page. We're on the same page.
Does your wife make it easy for you to be guy number one who's just loyal to the wife?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's one of these where I feel like I lucked up.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, what I realize is that, thank God, my parents and different people around me, like my uncle, etc., taught me. They showed me what healthy love looks like.
Praise be to God. Very lucky.
Yeah. To be in a partnership, to be a man.
Yeah,
that's what it is. In a relationship, to be a father, and so I saw that. So when I got into that relationship, I was able to, I think, understand that I need to have someone who does share my values.
Yeah.
I need to have someone who I do have a level of physical attraction to. I need to have someone who we can manage conflict.
Yes.
Because I remember that's what we were doing early on when we were dating, is we were figuring out, can we resolve conflict?
Yeah.
But most importantly, what I saw was that life was so much better with my then girlfriend.
Yes.
Everything was
so
better.
Much better, isn't it? It's just so much better. The predictability, the stability, the sounding board to all of your thoughts. It's a really wonderful experience. Again, I feel really bad saying it because I don't mean to be on a high horse or anything like that, because I know how difficult it is to find someone. But if you can find them, you don't want to go back on the market. Trust me, just because somebody else is a bit hotter or somebody else is a bit younger, you don't want to go back on the market. It's not that easy to find that.
It's not. It's not. So if you're a young man,
yes,
actually a man of any age watching this, and you're single, and you'd like to be in a relationship, you'd like to be in a committed relationship, what do you advise him to do?
Selection is the only thing that will determine whether or not you have a good relationship. And what predetermines your selection is your self-esteem. So if you have high self-esteem, number one thing is you'll select women that want you. Where men get it wrong is that they forget that women just are very binary when it comes to this. They either like you or they don't. Yeah, it's very, very simple. Where men get it wrong is they pick women in the women that don't like you category and try and buy their love or try and convince her to want him. And then when she finally gets him, he thinks he's like the cat who got all the prizes. He thinks he's so proud of himself. When really having to convince and beg is poor selection in itself. So my number one advice to men is forget women who are not into you. Just they're a waste of your time. Focus on the women that are into you. Select wisely amongst those. Don't compromise on attraction, right? But the underlying thing is how much she's invested into you and how much she loves you. After you've chosen from women that like you, have a look at their moral compass before you. So what was the best predictor of future relationships, unfortunately, is past relationships. What was her relationship like before you? Were they very chaotic, very, very disruptive? Was there a lot of infidelity? Have a look at it. No one's going to be perfect. Absolutely no one's going to be perfect. But if she engaged in behaviors that you believe were non-negotiables, you believe that maybe she did some things or she had a pattern or something that you believe is a non-negotiable, maybe she was really disrespectful, whatever it was. If it's a non-negotiable and she really likes you, still it's not going to work. But if she likes you a lot and her previous relationships and her previous patterns have shown that she has mistakes like everybody else, but it's not non-negotiable. She made a few mistakes here and there, but it's not a non-negotiable. It's not something that's going to break down the relationship. That's your woman.
You believe men should be married.
Absolutely.
You believe there's strong benefits to having a wife.
Absolutely. There's strong benefits to the values of marriage, not just being married. If you're a man that just enters marriage but then behaves like an unmarried man, there's no point you being married. But the values behind marriage, which is a compromise, understanding a woman, understanding how to be a father, understanding how to look after children, setting boundaries is very, very important in being a married man, expressing your genuine feedback to your woman, not being scared of what she has to say, not being terrified of this woman and her reaction. Being a true married man in a real marriage sense is incredibly beneficial. As long as you are inauthentically yourself in that marriage, you are leading in the right direction and you have incredible self-control. Being a married man that's just a puppy to his wife, who's afraid to tell her what he really thinks, who just follows her around like a lost cause and then lives a separate life behind her back because he so secretly resents her, there's no point in you being married. Yeah, you're getting nothing from this. You're just getting a shared accommodation, but you're not getting anything else. So the true values of marriage, I think, benefit men more than they do anyone else. And the reason being is men have a lack of a circle where they can express themselves and be themselves. They don't really have intimate conversations with their fellow friends or this, and they don't have that circle. So when they can create an environment in their home where they can express themselves, they can give honest feedback. Oh, I didn't like the dinner today. Can you try it again next time with this? That? Or they can say, look, we haven't had sex in a while. Can you please, can we do something about this? When they can be their honest, true self, authentic self, it's an outlet like no other. Yeah, because they can't do it anywhere else. We, as the women, have the luxury of doing it even on social media if we wanted to. We could just express ourselves or whatever we want. We're so lucky in that regard. Men just don't have that. So if they can create a safe space in their home, they'll never want to leave it. If they're always trying to get out of the house, always trying to leave their wife, their home is not a safe space. So they really need to learn to cultivate that in order to have a good life.
But you've actually suggested some of these already, but what do you believe if you're dating, okay, right now, what are men's biggest red flags?
Yeah, I have spoken about this a lot before. But what I would say is, firstly, look at their relationship with their parents and look at their relationship with their father more than anything else. A lot of people will say, you just have to look at the relationship with his mother. As you treat his mother right, he's going to be amazing to you. Actually, no. It's their relationship with masculinity that is far more important in their marriage than anything else. Now, if they have a father figure, some men are unfortunately with fathers that they don't respect, but they didn't generalize that to masculinity overall. They didn't generally be like, men can be so cruel, women are victims. They just had a dislike to their father, but they still remained relatively objective when it comes to men and women. That's totally fine. But if he has this really negative view of his father, never accessed his father because mom never allowed it or whatever it is, or just thinks really low of his father and just has a really negative relationship with it, what happens is their introduction to masculinity is negative. As a result, they start to replicate what their mother taught them in the home in relationships. And usually mothers, what they want out of their sons is obedience, respect, follow orders, and and they trust their mother blindly. They don't vet your mum when you're trusting your mum. You just accept what she has to say. That man, when he goes into relationships, he thinks that women love obedience. They think women love somebody who just follows orders. They think women love a guy that just trusts them blindly. So what happens is he forgets what women are actually sexually attracted to because he learned what women like through the lens of his mum. He didn't watch mum and dad's interaction and learn anything from that. He just learned from mum. And as a result, he goes into relationships weaker. And you don't want that because eventually you will get frustrated with him. It will be like an extra child. So look at his relationship with men and look at his relationship with his father first and foremost.
This is actually one of the things I found most fascinating is your positioning on attractive women.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that it's hard? Well, actually, what is an attractive woman?
Here's what I would say true attraction is that their beauty can surpass their demographics. And what I mean by that is some girls are only beautiful in their area. Some girls are only beautiful to men of the same race. Some girls are only beautiful to men of the same age. Truly attractive is universal. It's something that we can put on a billboard in every country, Gucci campaign across the world. Everybody will stop and look when it's a particular supermodel. It's universal. So I think true, highly attractive, not everybody can be attractive, but hyper attractive is when it's universally appealing across demographics. Age, race, gender, most people can universally agree this person would cause me to stop scrolling and pay attention. That's what it's not just your culture. It's not just your race or your age. Everybody can agree. Would you agree?
That's true attraction.
That's truly high level of attraction.
Is that just physicality, or are there behavioral traits in there too?
I would say, look, essentially, when I first started social media, my motivator was I'm so bored of seeing beautiful women who I don't know what their voice is like. I'm so bored of just seeing beautiful girls, endlessly beautiful. I can't tell you what their voice sounds like because they don't talk. They just post pictures of them online in sexy outfits, and yet they got 1 million followers. I was bored of that. And I was just like, oh God, I really can't see this on my feed anymore. So part of me was like, I just want to know what they talk about. What that taught me is you actually don't need a personality to be seen as attractive, because there's girls with 1 million followers who have not released one thing about their personality online. I've never seen them speak about anything, and they make millions on brand deals. So I do think we'd like to believe it's very much personality linked. It helps, of course, elegance, class, speaking, all that helps. But just look at the average influencer. Sometimes they talk rubbish, and they still have endless brand deals and endless followers. So I think it's idealistic to think that personality matters as much when it comes to attractive. Objective beauty is objective beauty.
Wow, objective. So what is it specifically, do you think, that men, sort of saying heterosexual men, what are they most attracted to in women?
I think one thing that they're really attracted to is women being attracted to them. So all she has to be is an attractive woman, and if she gives them a glimmer of hope that she likes him, automatically she's a supermodel in their eyes. So I do think reciprocity is like that. But generally speaking, men have different types. Yeah, they come in different types. Blonde, blue eyes. It can be a curvy brunette. It can be all different types. So I don't want to speak on behalf of what all men find attractive, but I genuinely think all men generally find attractive is an element of beauty with sex appeal. Too much beauty with no sex appeal is nice, but they won't stay interested. Too much sex appeal with no beauty, again, nice, but it's replaceable. It's a combination of beauty with some element of sex appeal. Now, that can come from their inner personality, their aura, so and so, but they need that in equal measure in order for them to be truly mesmerized by a woman.
Okay.
Can you answer that for me? What do men find attractive?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's the sliding scale. Again, it is. There's so many different elements to it.
There's so many.
I like what you're talking about with regard to beauty and sex appeal, and there's a combination. I think also there's, you have the sapiosexuals out there that want to be intellectually stimulated.
Yes.
You have others that double down on the physicality.
Yeah.
It's interesting. When I first saw my wife, there were two things that truly pulled me in. One was I was just looking at her, and it was a very hourglass shaped, and I feel like I'm predispositioned to a nice butt. So I was like, okay, I like what's happening here. But then immediately after, we were in this pre-college program, but it was a program where everyone in the small group had to take a test, and we walk in. So we had taken a test before. We walk in, and they're handing out the scores. She had scored the highest in the group.
Beautiful.
I was like, oh my gosh, she's brilliant.
Do men like intelligence? Like, because I get lots of nice comments and stuff, but when I speak to men and actually see who they're madly in love with, it will be some bimbo that they met and they're just madly, like, I find like men with low self-esteem are just so excited to have a beautiful woman. Whether she has a brain cell or not is not relevant. Okay. Whereas with men with high self-esteem, they get beautiful women anyway.
Yeah. And I thank you for qualifying that. Because you were like, are men I was like, of course men are interested in intelligence.
But I think self-esteem makes a big difference.
It is. It is. I mean, ultimately, I think this is the common theme, no matter what gender, et cetera, is self-esteem or well-being, and the higher that well-being, the higher quality that enters our life. And also, it's interesting, like the higher well-being, it's the higher the fences.
Yes.
In order to jump into our life. The lower the well-being, the lower the fence. Everyone gets in.
I would agree. I think it takes a level of high self-esteem to go for something beyond looks in a woman. And I would hope most men can see how important it is to do that.
Yes, yeah. But let's say looks are important.
They are important, absolutely.
Looks are important.
And that's why I put a lot, I know I talk a lot about this, but I do, because sometimes people say to me, why do you wear makeup? And I was like, because I respect myself. Why wouldn't I wear makeup? Why should I just be an intelligent woman and nothing else? You as a woman can be, well put together. You can look after your hair and nails and all those things. It shouldn't be either or. For some reason, I felt like when I came online, they wanted me to either just be a plain Jane and then talk really about these things, or not talk about these things and just stick to hair and makeup and all these things. As a woman, you can definitely have both if you prioritize both. I still take a lot of pride in my appearance, and I think you should never stop that, because essentially it's an element of self-respect. I do encourage women to get to the gym, look after themselves, put a bit of makeup on, look after yourself, only because you will feel better about yourself. You will genuinely feel better. People will treat you nicer. It's just a nicer experience in general when you are fulfilling your potential.
All right, fair. Can we say one more thing about attractive women? I know they're going to say, stop in a second, but I only have two more questions. Three more questions. Is on this attractive women front, is you have said in the past that men react negatively to attractive women.
Yes.
Why is that?
Men automatically go in two directions when they see a beautiful woman. They either go in awe or they go into hostility. It's one or the other. And when their self-esteem is super, super low and they're really low about themselves, they immediately want to reject her before she can reject him. They want to find reasons to kind of get rid of their attraction, because they know they have this attraction. Chances are it's not going to be reciprocated. So they have to get rid of it. And the quickest way to get rid of it is pretend you're not interested. Have to make fun of her appearance. Tell her there's something about her age. Tell her something about this. They have to somehow obliterate her self-esteem in order for them to make sense of why they're so attracted to her, but get rid of it because they don't want to face the rejection. So I think men, it can go in two directions, and they definitely make negative assumptions about beautiful women when they have low self-esteem. The number one assumption is that she's going to be promiscuous. Another assumption is she's going to be dumb. Another assumption is she's going to be manipulative. They make more and more negative assumptions about beautiful women, mainly because they've never had access to them. When you have access to beautiful women all the time, you realize that there's no real difference between them and the average girl. Like, they can be similar, they can be dissimilar. We're all human. But their negative perception shows that they haven't had enough access, and as a result, they feel the need to discourage her.
Wow. How do women react to attractive women?
They can go in, again, two directions. Very similar. They can either pedestal, want to look like her, want to be like her, want to be everything like her. It's kind of like the Kardashian effect. You've either become a woman that's like invested in all the surgeries and looks exactly like her and stuff, or you absolutely hate them. And what I find with women when it comes to attractive women, even the women that say that they're girls, women will always side with the woman that they find least threatening looks-wise. Yeah, that's it. So what I mean by this is, let's say, for example, I'll post a video and a girl might insult me endlessly in my comments. And then if I just say, well, I answer back, they'll be like, oh, how can you answer her back? You're so rude. They side with the person they're least threatened by. And as a result, any interaction you have as a beautiful woman with another woman, automatically women will side with the person that is least attractive because she's least of a threat. And so therefore they're more on her team. So they do this in general. They always side with women that they're least threatened by. High self-esteem women are not threatened by attractive women. As a result, when they see an attractive woman online, they either scroll past because they're not interested, or they support because they are not threatened. When they have low self-esteem, they have to somehow or another take something away from her. Have to. And in my particular case, what they've done in my particular case is if they can't take away from anything, what they'll do is if they can't take away from the message because they're not intellectually apt enough, or if they can't take away from my looks because that's too obviously a sign of being jealous, they'll somehow go for my qualifications or my culture. They'll go for something that is intangible, something that we can't actually measure in some way, shape or form, just to kind of bring you down rather than just keep it scrolling if you don't agree with it. So I found women in particular to be the most difficult, but then also when I meet them in person, they're the nicest. So it's either or. It's either or.
You know what's so interesting is because the last topic I wanted to talk about was jealousy among women, and I think you've just described that as well.
Yeah.
So you know,
do men experience jealousy with other men or not as much?
You know.
Hi, I'm Sadia Khan, and you might know me as a leading dating coach in modern relationships today. I work with men every single day to help give them the blueprint of understanding relationships, women, attraction, and self-esteem. So if you are feeling stuck in your relationships and you want to unlock your full potential, work with me today by clicking on the link, and I look forward to hearing from you.